Time to go out west with the AFC West. We're going to start with them, and NFC West will be next video. We're going to begin with talking about the Los Angeles Chargers, who had a very disappointing season last year. But there was good that came out of it. Brandon Staley did get fired, and now they have Jim Harbaugh to come in and try to rebuild this team. The additions made to the offense were very Harbaugh-esque. And I mean, like, the key thing was they needed to find a better receiving room. They lose Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So they come in with Lad McConkey, DJ Chark, and Brandon Rice to try to provide a receiver room that is good with production. They still have Quentin Johnson as well as and Josh Palmer. But the big thing was, like, they wanted to find more reliable receivers. Not to say Keenan Allen and Mike Williams can't be reliable. The thing is, they just can't stay on the field. Hayden Hurst brings in a vet presence to the tight end room, and they draft Joe Alt to be a great standout on that offensive line. And it's clear that the Chargers are going to go with a more run game focus. Now, to do this, they get rid of a receiving back in Austin Eckler, and they just bring in pretty much the entirety of the Baltimore Ravens running back room, which I'm not a fan of that move. They bring in both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, and don't get me wrong, they are good running backs. They have both dealt with injuries in the past. I think both have had injuries. I think in back-to-back seasons. Listen, they're both solid backs, but they weren't why the Ravens' run game was the Ravens' run game. That was Lamar Jackson. It's still going to be a good run room, and Harbaugh knows how to coach the run game. So I'm not expecting it to be a bad thing that they did this move. I'm just curious on why they decided just to get both of the Ravens running backs when there were other running back options available. But again, it should still be a solid running back room. The defense should be better. Now, I know Brandon Staley was more defensive minded, but he was also Brandon Staley. The defense should be solid. There's a little bit of work it could be done, but a lot of it could be because coaching wasn't great. They bring in Bud Dupree. They return Denzel Perriman, who was gone for a few years and just kind of throughout the rest of the league, he was just chilling. So the front seven gets a little bit of help. The secondary should be better, but again, they still need just better coaching. Staley, I don't know what he was up to as the head coach there. But I mean, Asante Samuel is still there. Derwin James is still there. There's still a nice duo in that secondary room. The idea is the coaching and the way that they scheme things up is going to make things easier for the defense. Plus, a offense that can actually score points consistently. Now, one undrafted rookie that I feel like isn't really getting talked about, I mean, because he's an undrafted rookie, but he's going to be getting some reps during the preseason, is Jeremiah John Baptiste. He's out of Ole Miss, but he spent his first 4 years in college with UCF, so I was able to watch him play quite a bit. He is a really solid linebacker, and I feel like he can fit right into this Chargers defense. And of course, he's undrafted, going to take a lot to get him onto the field during a regular season, but I think he's going to have a really solid preseason. He could be a sneaky force to that front seven. Now going to the Sin City, let's talk about the Vegas Raiders and new head coach Antonio Pierce. I love the hire. Same with a lot of people. Antonio Pierce really improved the Raiders last year after Josh McDaniels got fired. He bleeds the silver and black. And they started off free agency really well by signing Christian Wilkins. I hate that he left Miami, but he got himself a bag, and he more than well deserves it. And he's being paired with another dominant defensive lineman in Max Crosby. Teams are going to hate going against the Raiders. And if I remember correctly, I believe Miami goes up against them this season. So I am not looking forward to it. I could also be wrong. I haven't looked at the Dolphins' schedule in a while. The main moves for the offensive side of the ball, they bring in Michael Gallup to be kind of a receiver 3. And they selected Jackson Powers-Johnson, who was someone I wanted Miami to get. So they improved the offensive line because they have Aiden O'Connell starting, who I feel like could be a decent caliber starter. Obviously, you kind of want to get a little bit of a better improvement there, but they have Gardner Minshew waiting in a wing, who did really well for the Colts last year. And they get Brock Bowers in the first round to pair with already good young tight end Michael Mayer. I want to see the Raiders use a lot more two tight end sets, like 12 or 22 personnel, because they have two really, really good tight ends. And much like Kyle Pitts, Brock Bowers could be used also as like a large body slot receiver. So they could really utilize Brock Bowers to a good extent. They bring in Alexander Madison to the running back room. I feel like Zamir White's going to be the better back and probably get more of the reps, but it's still a pretty decent running back duo. And yeah, Antonio Pierce, I like the Raiders. Main thing is, how is Aiden O'Connell going to develop, and how is really just the rest of this division going to shape out? As three of these teams are kind of staring down new horizons when it comes to how they're built, and the other team facing down a new horizon is the Denver Broncos. Probably some of them are taking a vacation at Casablanca right now. The entire QB room got completely stripped and revamped, bringing in a whole new three sets of quarterbacks in Jared Stidham, Bo Nix, and Zach Wilson. Currently, at the time of making this, Jared Stidham is listed as the starter. I expect that to change rather quickly, and I would not be shocked if Zach Wilson gets to start at first, but it's going to be a QB battle between Wilson and Bo Nix. So again, I expect Wilson to get the start at first, but Bo Nix to come in relatively quickly, just because he's the first round pick. He's the guy who's the future of the team. I feel like they want to see what he got in him. And the schedule kind of allows for it to be at any point during the season, so kind of just whenever Zach Wilson underperforms. And who knows, if Zach Wilson does get the start, he could come in and just instantly be a better quarterback than he was for the Jets, which would be both hilarious and a really nice thing for the Broncos, because now they got two quarterbacks they can rely on. The running back room, though, is the strength of the team, with a really sneaky three-headed unit with Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine, and Jaleel McLaughlin. Again, it's a really underrated part of this team, how kind of consistent the running back room is. And with Sean Payton being able to kind of get the most out of backs, especially in a passing game, it should be fun to watch. Greg Dulcich is the tight end one. I expect to be a tight end run, and he's stepped up when he needed to last year. I expect him to continue that if they give him more shots. He's listed currently as tight end 2. Again, I expect him to get a lot of reps, though, as a kind of a tight end 1 that may run multiple tight end personnel. We'll see. The defense, they lose Justin Simmons, and their replacement for him is Brandon Jones. And Brandon Jones is solid. He's really good when being asked to blitz. How much they have him blitz, I don't know. But when it comes to kind of their defense in general, they're kind of the main thing. Obviously, outside of Bo Nix, they are the main thing I'm looking at throughout the preseason because of second-year safety J.L. Skinner out of Boise State. If he can take a jump, because before his injury, he was projected to be a late day 1, early day 2 pick. They drafted him in the 4th round a year ago. If he can take a jump and get back to that kind of early projection stage and level of production, he could be a really good piece for that defense, and maybe even the true Justin Simmons replacement. Now, the defending Super Bowl champions, looking for a three-peat, the Kansas City Chiefs, they've been in the news a lot recently because of the off-the-field stuff. I'm not really going to touch on that. I mainly just want to say that they're going to be a threat just because they have Chris Jones, Kelsey, Mahomes, and Andy Reid still there. They bring in Xavier Worthy to kind of help out the passing game because he actually has some pass catching abilities unlike the previous receiver units. If you were on following football at all when the draft took place, and you've seen people's reactions to the Chiefs drafting him. And boy, I'm one of them. I do not like he fell to Kansas City because they pretty much got another Tyreek Hill. I know that was said when they got McCole Hardman. But Xavier Worthy is that dude. He can come in and provide instant explosiveness to a receiving room that was desperately needing consistency and explosives and explosivity. And I mean, the Chiefs managed to win a Super Bowl last year with already a mediocre receiver room, and if anything, it improved. And they won it because of the defense. And yeah, the defense did take a little bit of a hit, especially the secondary, because they traded L'Jarius Sneed. But Steve Spagnuolo is still the defensive coordinator, and he will still outcoach every other offensive coordinator in the league. He is a massive piece to why the Chiefs have succeeded so long, and he is who I imagine is Andy Reid's chosen successor whenever Reid retires. They face a big challenge though right away. They have to play Baltimore at home, and that's going to be a big staple game for both teams. But again, it's still the Chiefs. Even if the Chiefs lose that first game, even if the Chiefs lose the first three, I'm not counting the Chiefs out until they are officially eliminated. They could enter the playoffs 8-9, and I would still probably say they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's the Chiefs. You can't count them out. I'm expecting them to three-peat, even though I do not want them to. With all that being said, let me know your thoughts down below on the AFC West. Thank you all for tuning in. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new. We are getting closer and closer to preseason. We have 3 more divisions to go at this point. So stick around, subscribe, you know the drill. So I'll see you all in the next one. And remember to have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.